Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Dan Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of Residence Life here at Rutgers-New Brunswick. And we're going to talk a little bit about thinking about living on campus and making those decisions. So we're going to have about 50 minutes to do that. So please follow along with me. Here's what we're going to talk about today. Talk a little bit about why you should live on campus. Who's here to help you with all the different things that might become a problem or a worry or concern for you or your family. Talk a little bit about the options you have to live on campus, how to make yourself at home, and ultimately to apply and even move on and eating on campus. So let's go. There are a lot of benefits for living on campus. We have studied students who have lived on campus for the last 15 or 20 years and have found out that those students who choose to live on campus have two primary benefits that those who do not have. The first is students who live on campus are more likely to graduate than those who do not. Students who live on campus also are more likely to graduate in 4 years and more likely to graduate with a higher GPA than those who do not live on campus. So academic success is a big part of that. But academic success is also simpler when you live on campus. You're closer to the libraries, to resource centers, tutoring labs, etc. They're easier to take advantage of when they're literally just around the corner. But there are other support things that happen on campus too. We have a great group of staff who work directly in the Department of Residence Life, who provide academic and social and emotional support. But we're also, again, linked very closely to all the wonderful resources that a school like Rutgers has and are easily can put you in touch with those folks. We also maintain a very secure campus. All of our residence halls are locked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have to have an ID swipe to get into your residence hall. We have a lot of people here who are committed to student safety. We'll talk a little bit about those in a minute. And you see the word community listed here as a benefit. Community is a word we love in residence life. It really means that you are joining a group of people who have similar ideas, values, expectations. They're here to get an education, to meet new people, to learn more about themselves and the world around them. And it's a community made up of folks who are really excited to be here. And you'll find out more about that in the coming minutes as well. And last, it's a worry-free environment. You pay one fee per semester and it pays for your utilities, your Wi-Fi, your cable television, and everything else in between. A lot of people find that we're not worrying about trying to collect checks from their roommates or other things like that is quite a benefit for living on campus. I mentioned the folks that are here to help. We have been, as I said, working with students on campus for a very, very long time. Rutgers is 253 years old. It's the 8th oldest operating university in the United States. It was founded before the American Revolution. And it's something that we've really taken pride in, is that we have worked really hard to create an environment of trained staff at all different levels who can help students out of any kind of problem. First, within the residence life team, we have lots and lots of RAs. Those are students who are second, third, sometimes fourth year, who've proven that they can handle the academic and transitions that students need to face at Rutgers. We have over 300 of those students who are there to help living on every floor or section of floors in a residence hall. We have 30 hall directors. These are students who live on campus and are studying the student affairs, higher education world to do this as a full-time job. They already have an undergraduate degree. They were often RAs at another university and are here at Rutgers studying full-time and working a half-time job for us. And they live on campus and they work closely with our students. And then you can see we have 24 residence life coordinators. Those are staff who live on campus as well and already have master's degrees and a couple of years or more of full-time work in the residence hall environment and are here to support all of the staff and students. And then you can see we have lots of other folks in the residential area. One is the residential care team, and this is something new happening on campuses, and Rutgers was one of the first to pioneer this across the country. These are trained staff who work with students who find themselves in difficulty with mental health issues. They are here to work with students who might have been hospitalized at one time to make sure that they're keeping up with the things that they need to do to continue to be successful students. We have 4 of those dedicated full-time to working with our students. And also you can see then at nights and weekends, there are many staff available. They're living here. They're here. They have telephones that allow them to respond very quickly to problems and then to dispatch folks across campus to help us out. We also have counselors on call, deans of students on call, and lots of Rutgers Police Department's folks here 24 hours a day. So let's talk a little bit about where you might live on campus. As you can see here, we have lots of different kinds of rooms, singles, doubles, suites, apartments. But for the most part, most first-year students will live in what we call double bedrooms. That's a bedroom, a room with 2 beds, 2 dressers, 2 desks, etc., and a bathroom and a lounge down the hall. That tends to be what most first-year students live in. Single bedroom bedrooms are usually reserved for people with medical or other needs to live alone. Suites are 3-bedroom, 6-person apartment or spaces that also have a living room, but they don't have a kitchen. Those tend to be sophomores with some juniors. And apartments also have kitchens, and those are almost always juniors and seniors. And you can see the kinds of things that are available in your room. We have kitchens at every traditional hall. Those halls where students don't have their own kitchen are required to have a meal plan, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But every hall has a kitchen, and that kitchen is for really casual things. Maybe a group of us want to make a pot of spaghetti and sit around and play a video game tonight. It is not equipped for a student to make all of their meals there, because there's only one for usually a building of about 200 or 300 students. But it is a place that you can do some basics. Every room does have a small refrigerator with a microwave, so heating up something like that is very simple in every student room. There's laundry rooms in every area. We're open for Thanksgiving break, but many of our halls close for spring break, and most will close for winter break. You can see you could have 24 hours a day to place maintenance requests, as well as the different Wi-Fi that we have in our buildings. We do recommend you still bring an Ethernet jack, because we still have wired ports as well as the wireless, and it's often the wired ports that will give you the very fastest connection. So let's say you've thought about where you want to live, thought about the kind of place that you want to live in. So let's talk about some ways that we make this big campus feel like home. I don't know that I've mentioned that Rutgers is actually the largest college residence hall system in the United States. We have over 16,000 students live on the Rutgers-New Brunswick campus. So we have what we call living learning communities, and these tend to be for first year and some second year students. And these are students who choose to live together because they share a similar interest. It might be an academic interest, like maybe getting into medical school or majoring in an engineering curriculum. It may be cultural. I want to explore more about my cultural identity and background. It might be a language-based community, or it might be special interests, entrepreneurship, arts and literature, etc. We will these programs have a common course that students take and outside activities put together by faculty just for the students who live together in a residence hall that are following this living learning program. It's a really great way for a student to get really enculturated into our university. You might be coming from far away, you don't know too many people, or maybe nobody coming to Rutgers, you don't have a roommate request. This may be the perfect way to have somebody near you and a group of students near you who have a common interest with you. It's a way to make this big university feel much smaller. You can find out more about it at the website that's listed there, but we hope you'll think about that. To apply to live on campus, you have to do a couple of things. First, you really want to accept your offer to Rutgers admission. That's the key. Once you say, yes, I'm coming to Rutgers, you have to do that. Then you go through these steps. You create what we call a net ID and password, and that you do at my.rutgers.edu. And then you have to complete your first year housing application. And on there, it will ask you the campus that you're most interested in living on. And our campuses, you probably are familiar that Rutgers has 5 separate campuses in the New Brunswick Piscataway area. They all operate as one university, but they have slightly different names. It's the historic way that Rutgers was organized. We actually collapse 2 of those into one for an operational perspective of the Department of Residence Life. But ultimately, you would tell us, I'm interested in living on a specific campus and maybe specific halls. And if you don't know what hall you want to live on or what campus, you can just kind of say, I don't have an opinion. But ultimately, decisions are made about who gets placed where based on the date of your housing application. So that when you submit your completed housing application, it's date and time stamped, and that's how we make process. So if you really know where you want to live, you really know you're coming to Rutgers, earlier is always better. But one of the things that we have found is that students are very, very clear that after they've spent their first year with us, they tell us that they probably could have been happier on just about any campus. They realize that they're coming and going all over the campuses, that they're really not just on one campus very often, except to sleep. So take that into account. But once you submit your application, you can go back on and make adjustments to that application. So if you know you're coming, apply for housing, get that date stamp and time as early as you can, then go through all of our websites, talk to friends, then figure out what your final application needs to be, and you need to make sure that is submitted by June 1st. And you can see our priority housing application deadline is June 1st. You can continue to make changes to it until July 1st. But again, earlier to get that first timestamp and then make adjustments is how I would recommend you go. If you have a roommate or discover a roommate that you would like to live with, you both need to be mutual, which means you need to both ask for each other. You need to both ask for the same campus and same halls in the same order. We will work very hard to get you placed based on the best application deadline of the roommate pair. You can also say, you know what, if I don't get the first thing that I want, or the second or the third, I still really want to live with my roommate, so put us wherever you can put us together. That's called people over place. Or you can tell us, you know what, if those first 2 halls aren't available, we're willing to separate and not live together to get where we want to be. That's called place over people. One of those things you need to tell us what you want to do. Then we ask you to tell your roommate, because sometimes we're the one who have to say, well, actually your roommate said place over people, and that's why you're separated. And it's better for them to hear that from you than from us. So you can see we do our best to honor getting you all together. And ultimately, August 7th is when we will, or by August 7th, you will get an email with your room, building, and name of your roommate and contact information. So let's say you've done all of that, you've gotten all of your things in by June 1st, and you have found out early in the month of August where you're living, etc. Then you have to move in. There'll be a lot of information on our website and lots of information coming into you, and we ask you to read through it all. It'll tell you what to bring, what not to bring, etc. But ultimately, when you come to campus, you have to bring a valid government form of identification to prove that you are you. It can be your RU ID card as well. And then you also have immunization requirements that are required by the state of New Jersey. And that will all be written up for you. But it's a pretty busy day, as you might imagine, when we have so many students moving in, but we're always excited when our newest students join us on campus. And then last, just a few words about eating on campus. As it says here at the top of this slide, first-year students residing in a residence hall are required to have a minimum 210 meal plan. that gives you about 14 meals per week on campus. And that's because the students living in residence halls who are first year are almost always in a building without kitchens and therefore need to eat somewhere else. So that's the requirement. And you can see you can make those, you can eat in any of the 4 dining halls on campus. There's takeout options always available, lots of things to do, lots of special events. You can also use your meal plan at several other places on campus. There are food trucks that run around all over. We have 12 different pickup, grab-and-go locations, as well as some smaller cafes scattered about campus. So we've talked a little bit about finding out what might be available here, how we are set up to help you, the advantages to live on campus, even as much as moving in. We're really excited that you're thinking about Rutgers, and we hope very much that you will stay in touch with us. If you have questions or concerns about what you've heard today or other things, please use our social media or log into our website and use our Q&A there to find out more. But we're excited that you're excited about becoming a Scarlet Knight. Have a good rest of your spring. Bye-bye.